Jake Morrison walked down the long white hallway of the United Nations building in New York. His shoes made soft sounds on the clean floor. He carried a thick folder full of papers under his arm. Today was another peace meeting between the aliens, who had been fighting each other for over 50 years. Jake had been Earth's top diplomat for 10 years now. His job was simple, but hard. Keep Earth out of the war. Keep the peace talks going. Make sure humans stayed safe by staying neutral. The meeting room was big and cold. Two groups of aliens sat on opposite sides of a long table. On the left were the Zephyrians. They looked like tall, thin people with blue skin and silver eyes. Their leader, Ambassador Vexteri, wore flowing robes that seemed to move by themselves. On the right sat the Hegemony Alliance. They were shorter and wider, with gray skin and 4 arms each. General Koroth led their group. His uniform was covered in medals and strange symbols. Jake sat at the head of the table between them. He had done this many times before. The aliens would argue. They would make demands. Nothing would get solved. Then they would all go home and keep fighting their war somewhere else in the galaxy. "Welcome back to Earth," Jake said in a calm voice. "We hope today we can find some way to end this conflict." Ambassador Vexteri spoke first. Her voice was like music, but Jake could hear the worry in it. "Secretary Morrison, we fear our enemy grows desperate. The hegemony has lost many worlds in recent battles. Desperate enemies do terrible things." General Koroth's 4 arms moved as he talked. "The Zephyrian Empire speaks of fear because they know we will win this war. They try to scare neutral worlds with lies." "These are not lies," Vexteri said. Her silver eyes grew bright. "Our intelligence reports showed the hegemony is planning attacks on neutral worlds. They want to steal resources to continue fighting." "Lies." Koroth slammed 2 of his hands on the table. "We follow all galactic laws about neutral worlds. The Empire wants to drag innocent species into their war." Jake held up his hand. "Please, both of you. Earth has been neutral for 112 years. We have never taken sides in any galactic conflict. We will not start now." The meeting went on for 3 more hours. The aliens argued about battle zones and trade routes, and old grudges that went back centuries. Jake took notes and tried to find ways both sides could agree. But like always, nothing changed. After the meeting ended, Jake walked to his office, on the 40th floor. Through his big window, he could see the city below. Flying cars moved between tall buildings. In the harbor, he could see 3 gray ships floating above the water. Those were Earth's only military ships. They were small and weak compared to the alien war fleets. But Earth had never needed strong weapons before. Jake's phone buzzed. It was Lisa Carter, the commander of Earth's planetary defense force. Her face appeared on his screen. She looked tired and angry. "How did the meeting go?" Lisa asked. "Same as always," Jake said. "They hate each other. They will keep fighting. Earth stays out of it." Lisa shook her head. "Jake, we need to talk about our defense situation. 3 ships is not enough to protect a whole planet." "3 ships is all we need," Jake said. "We are neutral. No one attacks neutral worlds. It is against galactic law. Laws only work when everyone follows them," Lisa said. "What if someone decides to break the law?" Jake looked out his window again. The city was peaceful. People walked on the streets below. Children played in parks. Earth had been safe for over a century because they stayed out of other people's wars. "The law will protect us," Jake said. "It has to." Lisa's image disappeared from the screen. Jake knew she was not happy with his answer, but he was right. Neutrality had kept Earth safe. Getting involved in alien wars would only bring danger to human worlds. That evening, Jake went home to his apartment. He made dinner and watched the news. The reporter talked about the refugee camps outside the city. Thousands of aliens from both sides had come to Earth to escape the war. Earth took them in because that was what neutral worlds did. The news also showed pictures from the war zones, burned planets, and destroyed space stations. Millions of beings had died in this stupid conflict. Jake was glad Earth was not part of it. His phone rang. It was Ben Phillips, a scientist who studied alien cultures at the research station near Earth's moon. "Jake, I need to talk to you," Ben said. He sounded worried. "I have been studying communication signals from both alien fleets. Something strange is happening." "What kind of strange?" Jake asked. "Both sides are starting to pull their ships back from our solar system. Not just a few ships. All of them." Jake frowned. "Maybe they are taking the fight somewhere else." "Maybe," Ben said. "But I also picked up some other signals. Different from anything I have seen before. The patterns are wrong somehow. Wrong how? I do not know yet." "But Jake, what if both alien fleets are leaving because something else is coming?" Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. "What are you saying, Ben?" "I am saying maybe the Zephyrians and Hegemony are not running toward a fight. Maybe they are running away from one." Jake looked out his apartment window at the night sky. The stars looked the same as always, peaceful and far away, but Ben's words made him think about what might be moving between those stars. "Keep studying those signals," Jake told Ben, "and let me know if you find anything else." After the call ended, Jake sat in his chair and thought. For over 100 years, Earth had stayed safe by staying neutral. But what if neutrality was not enough anymore? What if something was coming that did not care about galactic laws? He shook his head. Earth was protected. The law was clear. Neutral worlds were safe. They had to be. But as Jake went to sleep that night, he could not stop thinking about Ben's words. What if both alien armies were running away from something? And what if that something was heading toward Earth? Far out in space, past the edge of the solar system, something moved in the darkness between the stars. It was big and hungry, and it had been traveling for a very long time. It had found a new world to feed on. Earth's long peace was about to end. 3 weeks passed after Ben Phillips called Jake Morrison about the strange signals. At first, everything seemed normal. The refugee camps grew larger as more aliens came to Earth for safety. The Zephyrian and Hegemony fleets had moved away from Earth's solar system. But that happened sometimes when big battles started elsewhere. Then the supply ships began to disappear. Lisa Carter stood in the command center of Earth's defense station. The room was full of screens showing the space around Earth. Red dots marked where ships should be, but were not. "Show me the list again," Lisa told her assistant, a young man named Pete Davis. Pete read from his tablet. "Supply ship Morning Star, missing for 6 days. No distress signal. Supply ship New Hope, missing for 4 days. Also no signal. Research vessel Blue Sky, missing for 2 days." Lisa walked to the big screen on the wall. It showed a map of the solar system. 3 red X marks showed where the ships had disappeared. All 3 were near the edge of the solar system, far from Earth. "What was the last thing each ship reported?" Lisa asked. "Normal cargo runs," Pete said. Morning Star was carrying food to the mining station on asteroid belt 7. New Hope was taking supplies to the research post near Jupiter. Blue Sky was doing a routine science mission near Neptune. Lisa stared at the map. 3 ships gone in 1 week. No calls for help. No wreckage found. It was like they had just vanished into space. Her communication device buzzed. It was Jake Morrison calling from his office on Earth. "Lisa, I heard about the missing ships," Jake said. "What do you think happened?" "I do not know," Lisa said. "But I want permission to send search teams to look for them." Jake was quiet for a moment. "Lisa, we cannot risk more ships. What if this is some kind of trap by the Zephyrians or Hegemony? The war fleets left our system weeks ago," Lisa said. "And why would they attack our supply ships? We are neutral." "Maybe. One side wants to make us think the other side attacked us, Jake said. If we blame the wrong aliens, we might be forced to take sides in their war. Lisa felt angry. Jake always thought like a diplomat. He saw politics everywhere. Sometimes the simple answer was the right answer. Something was destroying their ships. Jake, what if this is not about the alien war? Lisa asked. What if something else is out there? Like what? I do not know. But 3 ships do not just disappear without a reason. Jake sighed. No search missions. We cannot risk losing more ships or people. That is an order. The communication ended. Lisa wanted to throw something at the wall. She had only 3 ships in Earth's defense fleet. Now she was not allowed to use them to defend anything. Pete looked worried. Commander, what if more ships disappear? Then we will have to do something, whether Jake likes it or not, Lisa said. 2 days later, the monitoring station near Pluto went silent. Ben Phillips was working late in his laboratory when the alarm went off. Red lights flashed in the small room. His computers showed that the Pluto station had stopped sending signals. The Pluto station was important. It watched for dangerous asteroids and monitored space traffic coming into the solar system. It had never gone quiet before, not even for maintenance. Ben tried to call the station. No answer. He tried the emergency channel. Still nothing. According to his instruments, the station was still there, but no one was talking. Ben called Lisa Carter right away. The Pluto station is not responding, he told her. Something is wrong. When did it go quiet? Lisa asked. 20 minutes ago. Right in the middle of their daily report. Lisa felt cold. First, the supply ships, now a monitoring station. Could it be equipment failure? Possible, but not likely, Ben said. The station has backup systems for everything. Even if the main computers failed, we should still get basic signals. I am going to check it out, Lisa said. Jake said no search missions, Ben reminded her. Jake is not here, and people might be in danger, Lisa said. I am taking the USS Liberty to Pluto. Lisa's ship was small, but fast. It took 12 hours to reach Pluto's orbit. As they got close to where the monitoring station should be, Lisa felt her stomach drop. The station was gone, not destroyed, not damaged, gone. Where a building-sized space station had been floating for 30 years, there was now nothing but empty space. Run a full scan, Lisa told her crew. Look for wreckage, debris, anything. The scans found almost nothing. A few small pieces of metal floating in space. That was all that was left of a station that had housed 50 people. But the metal pieces were strange. They looked melted, but not by any kind of weapon Lisa knew about. The edges were smooth, like something had dissolved them. Commander, said her pilot, a woman named Carol Stone. Look at this. Carol pointed to her screen. It showed energy readings from the area around Pluto. Something had left traces in space, like footprints made of radiation. What kind of ship makes energy patterns like that? Lisa asked. I have never seen anything like it, Carol said. It does not match Safarian technology, or hegemony technology, or human technology. Lisa felt fear growing in her chest. 3. Supply. Ships disappeared. A monitoring station vanished. And now they had proof that something unknown was moving around their solar system. She ordered her ship back to Earth immediately. Meanwhile, Ben Phillips was making a discovery that would change everything. Ben had been studying old alien records for months, trying to understand the Galactic War better. Most of the files were about battles and politics. But buried in the Zephyrian archives, he found something else. The files talked about an ancient enemy, something called the Devourers. According to the records, they had appeared thousands of years ago and eaten entire worlds before disappearing into deep space. Ben read the files 3 times before he believed what they said. The Devourers did not fight wars like normal species. They did not want territory or resources or power. They wanted to consume everything. planets, stars, entire solar systems. The files said the Devourers had organic ships that could absorb matter and energy. They could dissolve metal and stone and living things, turning everything into food for their ships. Most importantly, the files said the Devourers had been gone for so long that most species thought they were just stories, legends to scare children. But what if they were real? What if they had come back? Ben called Jake Morrison immediately. "Jake, I found something important," Ben said. "I think I know what is happening to our ships." "What did you find?" Jake asked. Ben explained about the Devourer files. He told Jake about ships that could dissolve metal and creatures that ate worlds. Jake was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Ben, those sound like fairy tales." "The energy patterns Lisa found match what these files describe," Ben said. "Jake, what if the Zephyrians and Hegemony fleets did not leave to fight each other? What if they left because they knew the Devourers were coming?" "That is impossible," Jake said. "If such creatures existed, someone would have warned us, would they?" Ben asked. "What if they were too scared to admit the Devourers had returned? What if they decided to run and hope the creatures would eat someone else first?" Jake felt sick. If Ben was right, then Earth was not protected by neutrality. Earth was alone and defenseless against something that ate entire worlds. "Keep studying those files," Jake told Ben, "and do not tell anyone else about this yet." But it was too late to keep it secret. Amy Watson, the war reporter, had been investigating the missing ships on her own. She had contacts in the refugee camps who were talking about something they called the Dark Fleet. Amy interviewed a Zephyrian refugee named Keldor, who had escaped from a world near the Galactic Rim. "They came from the darkness between stars," Keldor told her. "Ships like living things. They ate our cities, our forests, our people. Nothing could stop them." "Why did your military not fight them?" Amy asked. "How do you fight something that eats laser beams?" Keldor said. "How do you fight something that grows stronger every time it feeds?" Amy published her story the next day. The headline read, "Refugee Reports. Unknown Enemy Destroys Worlds Near Galactic Rim." Jake Morrison was furious when he read the article. He called Amy immediately. "You cannot publish stories like this," he told her. "You will cause panic." "People deserve to know the truth," Amy said. "Something is killing our ships, and the government is doing nothing." "We are handling the situation," Jake said. "By pretending it is not happening?" Amy asked. Jake hung up the phone. He looked out his office window at the city below. People were going about their normal lives. They felt safe because they believed Earth was protected. But what if protection was just an illusion? What if something was coming that did not care about laws or neutrality or peace? That night, long-range sensors detected a large group of unknown objects at the very edge of the solar system. The objects were moving slowly toward Earth. Ben Phillips was the first to see the readings. He called Lisa Carter immediately. "They are here," he said. "Who is here?" Lisa asked. "The Devourers, a whole fleet of them, and they are coming straight for Earth." The Devourer fleet appeared on Earth's sensors like a dark stain spreading across space. Lisa Carter stood in the command center, watching the enemy ships approach. There were hundreds of them, each one the size of a city. "How long until they reach Earth?" Lisa asked Pete Davis. Pete checked his instruments. His hands were shaking. 6 hours, Commander." Lisa felt her heart beating fast. 6 hours to prepare for an enemy that ate entire worlds. 6 hours, with only 3 small defense ships. She tried to call Jake Morrison, but the communication lines were jammed. Every person on Earth was trying to call someone. The news about the alien fleet had spread quickly. People were scared. Lisa made a decision. She opened the emergency broadcast channel and spoke to her entire crew. "All personnel, this is Commander Carter. An unknown alien fleet is approaching Earth. We are the only thing standing between them and our planet. I know our ships are small. I know we are outnumbered. But this is our home, and we will defend it. On the main screen, the alien ships grew larger. They did not look like normal spacecraft. They were organic, like giant sea creatures made of metal and flesh. Their surfaces moved and pulsed like they were alive. Jake Morrison finally reached the command center. He looked pale and tired. Lisa, we need to try to communicate with them. Maybe we can negotiate. Negotiate? With what? Lisa asked. Ben's research says these things eat entire planets. What can we offer them? Every species wants something, Jake said. Resources, territory, power. We can find a way to make a deal. Lisa pointed at the screen. The alien ships were close enough now to see details. Huge mouths opened on their sides, showing rows of teeth made of twisted metal. Look at them, Jake. Do those look like ships that want to make deals? Jake stared at the screen. The ships were beautiful and horrible at the same time. They moved through space like hungry sharks swimming toward helpless fish. I have to try, Jake said. He sat down at the communication station and opened a channel to the alien fleet. Unknown vessels. This is Earth's Secretary Jake Morrison. Earth is a neutral world under galactic law. We have no part in any conflicts. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions. The answer came back immediately. The voice was like metal scraping against stone. It spoke in perfect English. Your world will feed us. That was all. No demands, no threats. Just a simple statement of fact. Jake tried again. We can offer you resources from our asteroid belt, rare metals, energy sources. You do not need to harm our planet. Your world will feed us, the voice repeated. Lisa grabbed Jake's shoulder. They are not here to negotiate. They are here to eat us. The first Devourer ships entered Earth's atmosphere 30 minutes later. They descended toward the major cities, like falling stars. Lisa watched on her screens as one of the massive ships settled over New York City. The ship opened its mouth and began to feed. The process was horrible to watch. Beams of energy shot down from the ship and touched the buildings below. Wherever the beams hit, everything began to dissolve. Concrete, steel, glass, and people all melded together into a gray soup that flowed upward into the ship's mouth. Lisa's communication system exploded with voices, emergency services, military units, and civilians all screaming for help at the same time. All units, this is Commander Carter, Lisa broadcast. We are under attack. All military personnel report to your stations. All civilians evacuate to the underground shelters immediately. She turned to her crew. Take us down to Earth. We are going to fight these things. Commander, Pete said, our weapons are not designed for this kind of enemy. Then we will make them work, Lisa said. The USS Liberty dropped toward Earth's atmosphere. Behind them came the USS Freedom and the USS Justice, Earth's other two defense ships. 3 small vessels against hundreds of alien monsters as they flew over New York. Lisa saw the Devourer ship up close. It was even worse than on the sensors. The creature's skin was covered in scars and strange symbols. Smaller ships, like pilot fish around a shark, flew around it carrying dissolved matter back to the main body. Target the feeding beam, Lisa ordered. All weapons, fire. The Liberty's laser cannons shot bright beams at the alien ship. The beams hit the creature's hull and disappeared. The energy was absorbed into the ship's skin like water soaking into a sponge. Our weapons are not working, Carol Stone reported from the pilot's seat. Lisa watched in horror as their laser fire actually made the enemy ship stronger. The Devourer's skin glowed brighter where their beams had hit it. Try the missile system, Lisa said. The Liberty fired 12 missiles at the alien ship. The missiles exploded against the creature's hull, but instead of damage, the ship's mouth opened wider. It was feeding on the explosions. Commander, Pete said, it is eating our weapons. More Devourer ships landed in other cities around the world. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Los Angeles. Each one began the same terrible feeding process. Lisa watched the reports coming in from around the globe. Millions of people were dying, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. The USS Freedom tried to attack a devourer ship over London. The alien creature simply opened a second mouth and swallowed the entire human ship. The Freedom disappeared inside the monster without even slowing it down. Lisa felt sick. In less than an hour, Earth had lost one of its 3 defense ships and millions of people. The enemy had not even been scratched. All ships, fall back, Lisa ordered. We need a new plan. The Liberty and Justice retreated to a safe distance. Above Earth. Below them, the planet was being eaten alive. The devourer ships were efficient. They consumed everything in perfect circles around their landing sites. Buildings, roads, trees, people, even the dirt itself. Ben Phillips called from his research station. Lisa, I found something in the alien files. The devourers have a weakness. What kind of weakness? Lisa asked. They cannot process certain rare elements, Ben said. Elements that are common on Earth, but rare in most of the galaxy. If we can get these elements into their feeding systems, it might poison them. What elements? Lisa asked. Ben sent her a list. Lithium, beryllium, and several others. All things that could be found in Earth's crust. How do we get poison into their systems? Lisa asked. I am working on that, Ben said. But I need time. Time was something they did not have. The devourer ships were consuming Earth at an incredible speed. At this rate, the planet would be gone in less than a day. Jake Morrison appeared on Lisa's screen. He was in an underground bunker beneath Washington, D.C. Lisa, the president wants to surrender. He thinks we can negotiate terms. There are no terms, Lisa said. These things do not take prisoners. They just eat everything. What are our options? Jake asked. Lisa looked at her remaining ships. The Liberty and Justice against hundreds of devourer vessels. It seemed hopeless. We fight, she said. Even if we cannot win, we make them pay for every bite. Amy Watson was in New York when the attack started. She had been investigating the refugee stories when the first devourer ship appeared overhead. Now she was running through the streets with her camera, recording everything. The scenes around her were like a nightmare. The devourers' feeding beam had turned half the city into gray soup. People screamed and ran in every direction. Cars crashed into each other as drivers panicked. Amy found a group of survivors hiding in a subway tunnel. Among them was a Zephyrian refugee named Veltar, who had escaped from a devourer attack on his home world. How did your people fight them? Amy asked. We did not, Veltar said. We ran. That is all anyone can do. But there has to be something, Amy said. Some way to hurt them. Veltar looked at her with his silver eyes. You humans are strange. Your world is being eaten, your weapons do not work, and you still think about fighting. What else can we do? Amy asked. Most species accept death when it comes, Veltar said. But you ask how to fight death itself. Amy kept filming as more devourer ships landed around the world. She broadcast everything she could, sending the images to the few communication satellites that were still working. This is Amy Watson reporting from New York City, she said into her camera. Earth is under attack by creatures that eat entire worlds. Our military cannot stop them. Our government cannot stop them. But we are not giving up. She turned her camera toward the subway tunnel where people were hiding. Men, women, and children from dozens of different species. All of them refugees from the Galactic War. All of them trapped on a world that was being devoured. These people came to Earth for safety, Amy said. Now they are fighting for their lives alongside humans. If we are going to die, we will not die quietly. Above ground, the devourer ships continued their feast. But something was happening that they did not expect. The humans were not running away. Instead, they were gathering weapons and forming groups. Lisa Carter saw it on her sensors. All over the planet, humans were moving toward the Devourer ships instead of away from them. They had rifles, explosives, and improvised weapons. None of these things could hurt the aliens, but the humans did not seem to care. "What are they doing?" Pete asked. Lisa watched as a group of people in Los Angeles charged directly at a Devourer ship. The aliens killed them easily, but more humans took their place, and more after that. "They are buying us time," Lisa said. "They know they cannot win, but they are fighting anyway." Ben Phillips called again. "Lisa, I think I have something. We cannot poison the Devourers through their feeding systems. But I found something else." "What?" Lisa asked. "The ships have a shared consciousness," Ben said. "They are all connected to each other. If we can damage that connection, we might be able to confuse them." "How do we damage something we cannot see?" Lisa asked. "We do not attack the connection directly," Ben said. "We attack the ships that control it. According to the files, there should be command ships that coordinate the fleet." Lisa looked at her sensors. Among the hundreds of Devourer ships, 3 were much larger than the others. They hung in space above Earth, not feeding but watching. "I see them," Lisa said. 3 big ships in orbit. "Those are the command vessels," Ben said. "If we can destroy them, the rest of the fleet might lose coordination." Lisa looked at her 2 remaining ships. The Liberty and Justice against 3 command vessels the size of small moons. "We do not have enough firepower," she said. "Then we get more," Ben said. "I am sending you the frequencies for the Devourer communication system. If we can hack into their network, we might be able to turn their own ships against each other." It was a desperate plan, but as Lisa watched the humans below continuing their hopeless fight against impossible odds, she decided that desperate was better than giving up. "All ships, prepare for attack," Lisa ordered. "We are going after the command vessels." The battle for Earth was about to begin. Lisa Carter had never expected to die fighting monsters from space, but that seemed to be her fate. The USS Liberty climbed toward the 3 Devourer command ships hanging above Earth like dark moons. "Pete, are you ready with Ben's hack?" she asked. Pete Davis worked frantically at his computer station. "Almost there, Commander. Ben says, if we can get close enough to transmit directly into their network, we might be able to confuse their coordination system." "Define close enough," Lisa said. "Very close," Pete admitted. "Like, almost touching close." Lisa looked at the command ships on her screen. Each one was the size of a city, covered in the same organic armor that had absorbed all their weapons. Getting close to them would be suicide. Commander Carol Stone called from the pilot's seat. "The Justice is ready to follow us in." Lisa opened a channel to the other ship. Captain Roy Barnes appeared on her screen. He was an older man who had been flying defense ships since before Lisa was born. "Roy, this is probably a one-way trip," Lisa told him. "I know," Roy said. "But my daughter lives in Chicago. The Devourers are eating Chicago right now, so I am going to make them pay." Lisa nodded. That was a thing about humans that the aliens never understood. When someone threatened their families, humans became very dangerous. "Both ships, attack formation," Lisa ordered. "We go in fast and hard." The 2 small Earth ships accelerated toward the massive Devourer command vessels. Behind them, Earth continued to burn. In front of them, death waited in the form of alien monsters that had eaten whole star systems. But something was happening on Earth that the Devourers had not expected. Ben Phillips worked in his underground laboratory, surrounded by computer screens and alien artifacts. He had been studying Devourer technology for hours, looking for any weakness he could find. The breakthrough came when he realized that the Devourer's greatest strength was also their weakness. They absorbed everything: energy, matter, even radiation. But what if they absorbed something that was bad for them? Ben called every research station still working on Earth. I need you to gather all the rare earth elements you can find. Lithium, beryllium, scandium, anything on my list. What are you planning? Asked Dr. Susan Clark from the Mars Research Station. Poison, Ben said. We cannot fight the Devourers with weapons they can absorb. But what if we make something they cannot digest? Ben's plan was simple, but dangerous. If they could create a virus that attacked the Devourers' organic systems, they might be able to kill the creatures from the inside. The virus would need to be made from elements that the aliens' bodies could not process. All over Earth, scientists and engineers began working together. They used equipment from destroyed cities and materials salvaged from Devourer attacks. In underground bunkers and hidden laboratories, humans began building weapons designed specifically to kill world-eaters. Meanwhile, Jake Morrison had given up on diplomacy. He sat in his bunker beneath Washington, D.C., watching the reports from around the world. Every major city was under attack. Millions of people were dead or missing. But the reports also showed something else. Humans were not just running and hiding. They were fighting back in ways that amazed even Jake. In London, a group of engineers had built explosives from industrial chemicals. The bombs could not hurt the Devourer ships, but they could damage the feeding equipment. Every time the aliens tried to eat a building, humans would blow up the feeding tubes. In Tokyo, citizens had started fires all around the city. The smoke and heat confused the Devourer's sensors, making it harder for them to target their feeding beams accurately. In Moscow, people were using the subway tunnels to move supplies and coordinate attacks. They could not hurt the aliens directly, but they could make the feeding process slower and more difficult. Jake realized something important. The Devourers had planned to eat Earth quickly and efficiently, but humans were making the process messy and complicated. The aliens were getting frustrated. Amy Watson is still broadcasting, reported his assistant, a young woman named Kelly Price. Jake had Amy's signal put on the main screen. The reporter was in a damaged building somewhere in New York, surrounded by other survivors. This is Amy Watson reporting from what used to be Manhattan, she said into her camera. The aliens have been trying to eat this city for 6 hours now. They are not done yet. Amy turned her camera toward the window. Outside, a Devourer ship hung in the air, its feeding beam working on a skyscraper. But the building was not dissolving smoothly. Explosions and fires kept interrupting the process. The people of New York are not making this easy, Amy continued. Every time the aliens try to eat something, someone blows it up first. Every time they target a building, people set it on fire. We cannot stop them, but we can make them work for every bite. Jake felt something he had not felt in hours. Hope. Kelly, get me a line to all the resistance groups, he said. Sir. Kelly looked confused. I am done trying to negotiate with monsters, Jake said. It is time to help my people fight. In space above Earth, Lisa Carter's attack was not going well. The Liberty and Justice had reached the Devourer command ships, but their weapons were still useless. Every laser beam and missile they fired was simply absorbed by the alien vessels. Pete, is that hack ready? Lisa asked as tentacles of energy reached out from the command ship toward them. Working on it, Pete said. The Devourer communication system is more complex than we thought. It is like trying to hack into a living brain. The USS Justice was hit by one of the energy tentacles. The ship's hull began to dissolve. Captain Barnes' voice came over the radio. Liberty, my ship is compromised. We are going to ram the command vessel. Maybe we can damage something important. Roy, wait, Lisa said. There might be another way. But the Justice was already moving. The small Earthship accelerated directly toward the massive Devourer command vessel. Lisa watched as her friend's ship disappeared into the alien creature's hull. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the command ship began to shudder. Lights flickered along its surface. Something was wrong inside the creature. Pete, what is happening? Lisa asked. Pete stared at his instruments. The Justice's reactor went critical inside the command ship. The aliens are trying to absorb the nuclear explosion, but it is too much energy too fast. The Devourer command ship was having problems. Its feeding beam shut down. The smaller ships around it began moving erratically, like they had lost their instructions. It is working, Pete said. The command ship is damaged. I am detecting communication failures throughout the Devourer fleet. Lisa felt a moment of satisfaction. Roy Barnes had hurt the monsters that killed his daughter, but 2 more command ships remained, and the Liberty was alone. Pete, try the hack now while they are confused, Lisa ordered. Pete's fingers flew over his keyboard. I am in their system. Lisa, this is incredible. The Devourers are not just ships. They are one giant organism spread across hundreds of bodies. Can you shut them down? Lisa asked. I cannot shut them down, but I can give them conflicting orders, Pete said. If I tell half the fleet to feed and half to stop feeding, they might get confused enough to attack each other. Do it, Lisa said. Below them, something amazing was happening on Earth. Ben Phillips had finished his virus. It was not a computer virus or a biological virus. It was a chemical compound that attacked the organic parts of Devourer technology. Ben loaded the virus into modified missiles and sent them to resistance groups around the world. The missiles could not penetrate the aliens' armor, but they did not need to. They just needed to get the virus into the feeding streams. In New York, a group of survivors, led by Amy Watson, fired the first virus missile at a Devourer feeding beam. The missile exploded in the gray soup flowing up to the alien ship. At first, nothing happened. Then the feeding beam began to flicker. The Devourer ship made a sound like a dying whale. Its feeding process slowed and then stopped. It is working, Amy broadcast to the world. The virus is working. We can hurt them. All around Earth, humans began using Ben's virus weapons. The Devourers tried to adapt, but the virus was specifically designed to be indigestible. The more they tried to absorb it, the sicker they became. In space, Pete's hack was causing chaos. In the Devourer fleet, half the ships were trying to feed, while the other half were trying to retreat. Some were attacking each other, thinking their fleet mates were enemies. One of the remaining command ships tried to restore order by sending stronger control signals, but Lisa was ready for that. Pete, can you overload their communication system? She asked. If I send too much data through their network, it might burn out their organic circuits, Pete said. Do it. Pete uploaded every piece of human knowledge he could find into the Devourer communication system. Music, art, literature, science, history. Thousands of years of human culture flooded into the aliens' shared consciousness. The effect was immediate. The Devourers were used to simple thoughts about feeding and consuming. They could not process the complexity of human creativity. Their shared mind began to break down under the weight of Shakespeare and Einstein, Mozart and Da Vinci. Command ships throughout the fleet began shutting down. Without coordination, the smaller ships became confused and started attacking anything that moved, including each other. On Earth, the tide of battle was turning. The virus weapons were spreading through the Devourer feeding systems. Ships that had been consuming cities for hours suddenly stopped working. Some began vomiting up the matter they had absorbed, returning buildings and vehicles to the ground in twisted heaps. Jake Morrison coordinated the global resistance from his bunker. Reports came in from every continent. The Devourers were retreating from major cities. Their ships were malfunctioning. The creatures that had seemed unstoppable a few hours ago were now vulnerable. All units, press the attack, Jake ordered. Do not let them recover. Amy Watson stood in the ruins of Times Square, filming as a Devourer ship crashed into the Hudson River. The creature was dying, its organic systems poisoned by human chemistry. This is Amy Watson reporting from New York City, she said. The monsters are falling. The creatures that eat worlds are being killed by the people they tried to consume. Around her, humans emerged from hiding places and shelters. They carried improvised weapons and virus missiles. They were no longer running from the aliens. They were hunting them in space. Lisa Carter watched the last Devourer command ship try to escape. Its surface was covered in scars from Roy Barnes' sacrifice. Its communication systems were burned out from Pete's data attack. Should we let it go? Pete asked. Lisa thought about the millions of people who had died. She thought about Captain Barnes and his daughter. She thought about all the worlds the Devourers had consumed before coming to Earth. No, she said. We finish this. The Liberty chased the fleeing command ship to the edge of the solar system. When they caught up, Lisa did not use weapons. Instead, she rammed her ship directly into the alien vessel's main communication node. The explosion was visible from Earth. When the light faded, both ships were gone. But the last Devourer command ship was dead, its consciousness scattered across space. On Earth, the remaining Devourer ships stopped moving. Without their command vessels, they were just empty shells floating in the atmosphere. Humans quickly moved in to capture the alien technology. The battle was over. Earth had won, but something had changed. The species that had maintained neutrality for over a century was neutral no more. Humans had discovered something about themselves in those desperate hours. When pushed to the edge of extinction, they did not surrender. They adapted. They fought. They won. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you landed on humanity's front lawn, uninvited. 3 months after the Devourer attack, Earth looked very different. Where cities had been partially eaten, humans had built them back stronger. The new buildings were made with Devourer technology, materials that could absorb energy and convert it to useful power. The gray metal from the alien ships had been turned into armor and weapons. Ben Phillips stood in his new laboratory, which was twice the size of his old one. Around him, teams of scientists worked on projects that would have been impossible before the invasion. They were reverse engineering Devourer biotechnology and combining it with human innovation. "How are the new ships coming along?" asked Dr. Susan Clark, who had returned from Mars to help with the research. Ben pointed to the construction yards visible through his window. Where Earth had once built 3 small defense ships, now dozens of warships were taking shape. They looked like a cross between human engineering and Devourer organisms, beautiful and deadly at the same time. "The first squadron will be ready next week," Ben said. "They have Devourer absorption technology, but we modified it. Instead of consuming everything, they can absorb enemy weapons and convert the energy to fuel their own systems." "What about the virus weapons?" Susan asked. Ben smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "We have perfected them. The new versions can target specific biological types. We can make viruses that only affect Zephyrians, or only affect hegemony species, or anything else that threatens Earth." "That seems dangerous," Susan said. "It is supposed to be dangerous," Ben replied. "The galaxy needs to understand that humans are not helpless prey anymore." Across the city, Jake Morrison was having a very different conversation. His office was now in a building made of converted Devourer hull material. The walls could stop any known weapon and absorb energy attacks. On his desk were several documents: peace treaty requests from the Zephyrian Empire, trade agreements from the Hegemony Alliance, military cooperation offers from a dozen smaller species. Everyone wanted to be friends with humanity now. "What do you think?" asked his new assistant, Kelly Price, who had been promoted after the invasion. Jake looked at the treaty requests. 6 months ago, he would have signed them all immediately. Peace was always better than war. Cooperation was better than conflict. But that was before aliens had tried to eat his homeworld. "Schedule meetings with all of them," Jake said, "but make sure they understand the new rules." "What new rules?" Kelly asked. Jake pulled up a document on his computer. It was the Earth Defense Charter, written in the weeks after the Devourer attack. The language was simple and direct. Rule 1. Earth is no longer neutral. We will defend our allies and ourselves with whatever force is necessary. Rule 2. Any attack on human colonies or Earth itself will result in immediate retaliation. Rule 3. We will share our technology with friends and use it against enemies. Kelly read the document. This is very different from the old policy. The old policy almost got us all killed, Jake said. Neutrality only works when everyone respects it. The Devourers taught us that not everyone will. In the harbor outside, the new Earth fleet was conducting training exercises. The ships moved like living things, their Devourer-enhanced hulls, shifting and adapting to different combat situations. They were faster and stronger than anything else in known space. Amy Watson stood on an observation deck, filming the ships for her documentary about the invasion. Her work during the battle had made her famous throughout the galaxy. Everyone wanted to hear the story of how Earth had fought off the World Eaters. "This is Amy Watson reporting from New York Harbor," she said to her camera. "Behind me, you can see Earth's new defense fleet. These ships represent humanity's transformation from a peaceful, neutral world to a major galactic power." She turned to face the camera directly. 3 months ago, aliens came to Earth planning to eat our world. They thought we were helpless because we had avoided their wars. They were wrong. Amy gestured toward the city behind her. New York had been rebuilt with a mix of human architecture and alien technology. It was more beautiful than before, but also more dangerous. Hidden weapons could deploy from any building if the city was threatened again. "The creatures that ate worlds are now extinct," Amy continued. "Every single Devourer ship was either destroyed or captured. Their technology belongs to humanity now. The galaxy has learned that there are consequences for attacking Earth, far out in space." That lesson was being delivered personally. The Zephyrian patrol ship Starwind was conducting a routine mission near the galactic rim when it detected an unknown vessel approaching. Captain Velanash ordered his ship to investigate. What they found was impossible. "Captain," reported his sensor officer, "it is a Devourer ship, but the energy signatures are wrong." On the main screen, a familiar organic-looking vessel approached them. It had the unmistakable shape of a world eater, but something was different. The ship's hull was marked with symbols that no Zephyrian had ever seen before. "Open communication channels," Velanash ordered. The response came immediately. "Zephyrian vessel, this is the Earthship Retribution. Please identify your purpose in this sector." Velanash felt his 4 hearts stop beating. Earthship. Humans did not have ships that looked like Devourers. Humans were neutral. They did not travel to the galactic rim. "Earth vessel," he said carefully, "we are conducting a routine patrol. We were not aware of human presence in this region. All sectors are now under Earth protection," came the reply. "We are ensuring that no Devourer survivors remain hidden in deep space. You are welcome to continue your patrol, but be aware that this region is monitored." The Zephyrian crew stared at their screens in amazement. The human ship was larger than their patrol vessel and clearly more advanced. How had the peaceful humans built such technology so quickly? "Earth vessel," Velanash said, "our government would be honored to coordinate our patrols with yours. Coordination requests should be sent through official diplomatic channels," the human replied. "Earth's Secretary of Galactic Defense will review all such requests." The human ship moved away, disappearing into hyperspace with technology that seemed impossible. Velanash immediately sent a message to the Zephyrian High Command. Priority message to Fleet Headquarters. Humans have advanced military vessels operating in deep space. Recommend immediate diplomatic contact. Similar encounters were happening throughout the galaxy. Human ships appeared in systems where the Devourers had once attacked, making sure no trace of the World Eaters remained. The ships were crewed by humans, but they used technology that combined the best of Earth engineering with captured Devourer innovations. The message was clear. Earth was no longer hiding behind neutrality. Humans were actively patrolling the galaxy, hunting down any remaining threats. 2 weeks later, representatives from both major galactic powers arrived at Earth for an emergency summit. Ambassador Vex Story led the Zephyrian delegation. General Korath commanded the hegemony group. Jake Morrison met them in the same conference room where they had held peace talks before the invasion. But everything else had changed. The room's walls were now made of devourer hull material. Armed human guards stood at every entrance. Outside the windows, Earth's new warships could be seen patrolling the skies. "Welcome back to Earth," Jake said. His voice was polite but cold. "I hope your stay will be more productive than your last visit." Ambassador Vex Story spoke first. "Secretary Morrison, the Zephyrian Empire wishes to apologize for our failure to warn Earth about the Devourer threat." "Your apology is noted," Jake said, "but we are more interested in future cooperation than past failures." General Korath's forearms moved nervously. "The Hegemony Alliance offers full military cooperation with Earth's defense forces." "Earth's defense forces no longer need cooperation," Jake replied. "We are quite capable of defending ourselves. However, we are willing to defend others under certain conditions." The aliens exchanged glances. This was not the same diplomatic Earth they remembered. "What conditions?" Vex Story asked. Jake activated a holographic display showing star charts. Several human ships were marked in systems throughout the galaxy. "Earth will establish defense stations in key sectors," he said. "These stations will monitor for Devourer survivors and other galactic threats. In exchange, we expect full access to intelligence about hostile forces and immediate notification of any discovered threats." "And if we refuse?" Korath asked. Jake's expression did not change. "Then you will handle future threats without Earth's assistance. But remember, we are the only species that has successfully defeated the Devourers. If they return, you will face them alone." The threat was subtle but clear. Earth had technologies and weapons that no one else possessed. Making enemies of the humans would be very dangerous. "The Zephyrian Empire accepts these terms," Vex Story said quickly. "The Hegemony Alliance also agrees," Korath added. Jake nodded. "Excellent. There is one more thing. Earth is establishing a new category of galactic law. Any species that attacks a human world or human civilians will face immediate retaliation. We call it the Earth Protection Doctrine." "What kind of retaliation?" Vex Story asked nervously. Jake smiled. It was the same smile Ben Phillips had worn when discussing virus weapons. The kind that makes sure the attacking species never threatens anyone again. The meeting continued for several hours, but the important points had been made. Earth was no longer neutral. Earth was no longer weak. And Earth was no longer forgiving. 1 year after the Devourer invasion, Amy Watson published her final report on humanity's transformation. "The species that spent over a century avoiding conflict has become the galaxy's most formidable military power," she wrote. "Human ships patrol the outer rim, hunting for threats. Human weapons can kill any known life form. Human technology grows stronger every day. But perhaps most importantly, humans have learned that peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is what you have when your enemies are too afraid to attack you. The creatures that came to eat our world thought they had found easy prey. Instead, they woke up something that had been sleeping for 100 years. They woke up humanity's will to fight. Earth stayed neutral until the enemy landed on our front lawn. Now the galaxy knows what happens when you threaten the human homeworld. You do not get to make that mistake twice." Jake Morrison read Amy's report from his new office. Through his windows, he could see the construction yards where Earth's latest ships were being built. Each one was more advanced than the last, incorporating new discoveries from Devourer research. His communication device buzzed. It was a message from the Outer Rim Patrol. Another species had been found trying to hide Devourer eggs on an abandoned world. The eggs had been destroyed, and the species had been given a warning. Jake approved the patrol's actions and filed the report. Earth's neutrality was over, but humanity's safety was guaranteed. No one would ever again mistake human patience for human weakness. The galaxy had learned that there were consequences for landing on humanity's front. Lawn uninvited, and humanity would make sure that lesson was never forgotten.